Hello and welcome to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing royal death omens. So in France there is a legend saying that a little man dressed in red will appear before the Tuileries Palace just before there is some royal death. Some people say that the man is the ghost of a butcher that Queen Catherine de' Medici had executed in the 16th century. Others say that he was a henchman that Catherine would use to kill her political opponents and who she had killed to keep him quiet. While others say he was the first demon to reveal himself to the Queen and that he lived in the central tower of the palace. It is said that the Red Man told Catherine that she would die near Saint-Germain, and because the Tuileries was in the parish of Saint-Germain, Catherine started to avoid the palace, and she would also not cross any bridges that took her near to the palace. In 1589, Catherine came down with an illness. A Benedictine monk was called to give her her last rites, and when she asked what the name of this monk was, he replied, Laurent de Saint-Germain. So the Red Man was seen 3 nights before the assassination of King Henry IV of France in 1610. And it is said in 1792 Marie Antoinette and her attendants saw the Red Man while they were at the Toulouse Palace. This was just before they were officially removed from the French throne and then subsequently executed. It is also said that Marie Antoinette saw the Red Man in the corridor of the Toulouse Palace the day before a mob broke in there. The Red Man supposedly helped Napoleon on his campaign to take over the French throne. The Red Man is also said to have helped Napoleon. The Red Man had last been seen in 1871 during the uprising of the Paris Commune. The Little Red Man obviously seems to be a Republican. So doppelgangers are phantom doubles of a living person, and they are said to bring misfortune and death to anyone who sees them. One night in 1796, Catherine the Great was in her room when she was woken by her servants entering. They were shocked to see her in her room because, as they told her, they had just seen her entering the throne room. Catherine thought this quite strange, so she went to the throne room herself to see what was going on. When she got there, she saw someone looking exactly like her sitting on her throne. She ordered her guards to shoot at this woman, but the woman just disappeared. A few days later, Catherine had a stroke and died. So in June 1782, Catherine the Great's son Paul was having dinner with his wife and some friends in Brussels. They decided to start telling each other scary stories, so Paul told this story about how he was stopped on the streets by this strange man. He said that the man said to him, I am the one who takes part in your destiny and who wants you to be especially unattached to this world because you will not stay in it for long. This, Paul explained, meant that he would die young. He did later admit to one of his friends that he had made this whole encounter up and asked them not to tell anyone. A few years later, in March 1801, when Paul had inherited the throne from his mother, he was having a dinner party with friends when he looked into a mirror. He commented how the mirror distorted his image, making it look like his neck was turned to one side. Later that evening, assassins broke into the palace. They found Paul and strangled him. He died at the age of 47. In the 14th century, there lived Countess Kunigunde of Orlemont. She was in love with Albrecht of Zollern. Thinking that her 2 children would not like her relationship, she killed them. She now haunts the Hohenzollern family as a harbinger of death. Now, the family dread her appearance and they do sort of stay on high alert. King Frederick I of Prussia fell ill from terror after seeing a white-clad woman enter his room. This woman was actually his wife, but Frederick had such a fright that he died. Another sighting of the White Lady happened in July 1857. King Frederick William IV and his wife were visiting their cousins at Pillnitz Castle in Saxony. About 1 o'clock in the morning, a sentry saw a white lady leading a group of 5 headless men who were carrying a coffin. This procession entered the castle, and when it came out again, the sentry saw that in the coffin was now a headless man, and where the man's head should be was a crown. Frederick William began to become ill. 3 months later, he suffered from a stroke. The stroke did not kill him though. He lived for another 4 years, basically incapacitated, until 1861. So the Hohenzollern family is not the only royal family to have a family ghost. The Wittelsbach family has one as well. She is an old lady who wears black clothes, and of course if you see her it means you're going to die. In 1864, King Maximilian II of Bavaria and his wife Marie of Prussia hosted a luncheon. During the meal, Marie saw a woman in black standing behind her husband. She gasped and the lady vanished, but 3 days later Maximilian fell ill with what is thought to be gastritis and died. Maximilian was succeeded by his son Ludwig. One night in 1886, a sentry saw a woman in black gliding down the king's corridor. He called out for the lady to identify himself, but she ignored him, so he shot at her. But the gun backfired on him. He was just able to get his story out before he died. The next day, King Ludwig and his doctor were found dead in a lake. Now, there is another royal family that has a white lady ghost that predicts family deaths, and this family is the Habsburg family. In April 1898, a sentry at Vienna's Hofburg Palace saw a woman carrying a white candle walking towards him. He called out for this woman to identify herself, but the woman just ignored him, retraced her steps and entered the chapel. The last time the White Lady of Hofburg had been seen was in January 1889, just before the murder-suicide of Crown Prince Rudolph and his mistress Marie. The White Lady of Hofburg had last been seen in January 1898, just before the murder-suicide of Crown Prince Rudolph and his mistress Marie Vetsera. Rudolph's death had really upset his mother and father, Empress Elizabeth and Emperor Franz Joseph. Elizabeth took to travelling around Europe to help with her grief. 5 months after the sentry had seen the White Lady, Elizabeth saw the White Lady again in Switzerland. In September 1898, Elizabeth and her lady-in-waiting were just about to board a steamer in Lake Geneva when an anarchist stabbed Elizabeth in the chest. She died of internal bleeding. So there's a few little royal death omens. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.